670 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. Hope you're doing well. Nice looking day here in Ocala anyway. We have a wonderful school in Ocala for autistic children, and while they don't have many students, they do an outstanding job working with autistic students who just weren't being served correctly in the public schools, not to the fault of the public schools, but simply because the approach is so totally different when a student is autistic. And we wouldn't even know about the school, Robin and I, except for an event that happened to us. We had a gentleman come into the studio, and basically he was asking for some help because the school was going to close. The school is called New Horizon?
Yes.
New Horizon. Mm-hmm. And the school was going to close because they had, money issues. The money, and this is political in nature, and I don't want to dwell on this, but the money that follows a student from your tax dollars into the public school system does not follow those students when they are removed from the public school system to a school like New Horizon. So yes, the money is there, it just doesn't follow the kids, and it's a political issue, but that's not where we want to go today. But what I want to tell you is that this conversation was a very, very emotional one and passionate one. And the gentleman had a son who actually was a student at the school. I believe he and his wife started the school.
Yes.
He was just about in tears. And we did what we could to get the word out about what their needs were, which is what our job is, by the way, as radio host of a local radio station. So, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work in our efforts to try to get the word out about things that need to be gotten out there. And long story short, other media picked up on it, TV stations, newspapers, and before we knew it, there was a lot of people on board trying to help out this school, and the success speaks for itself. I mean, they're still there, they're still doing wonderfully. So we had a tour of the school, and we met some young people who were autistic, who had amazingly different stories. And there is no one definition of autism, which is why I think they call it a spectrum.
Right.
But what I remember specifically was the boy who, for some reason, animals were attracted to him. And he was in a field somewhere, and they didn't know where he was. He had wandered off. But all the animals were under a tree. Mm-hmm. And so the father instinctively knew he must be up in that tree. And sure enough, the kid was up in the tree. And I don't know. I don't understand it. It was amazing. Another story, and this is going to take us directly to our next guest, was a story of a child who saw music as colors. You remember this?
Yes, I do.
Saw music as colors. And I don't know that I truly understood that either. I don't know if he saw mentally lots of colors or one color, or was it a color per note? I wasn't sure. Carrie Cariello is on the phone. She has written a book called What Color is Monday? How Autism Changed One Family for the Better. Her second child is Jack. I can't wait to hear more about Jack. I only know very little based on the information that was provided to us. Jack is a child with the autism spectrum, and Carrie, is a regular contributor to Autism Spectrum News, to the Huffington Post, and various other parenting magazines. And I believe this all starts when her son revealed that he saw Monday as a color, which is, of course, where the title comes from. What Color is Monday is the book. Carrie Cariello, I hope you're okay with me having such a long intro, but this is kind of a passionate subject for Robin and I, even though neither one of us have an autistic child. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. No, I loved hearing about your intro and the school down there. I didn't know much about that at all. So.
Well, and where are you? Where are you calling from?
I am from New Hampshire. So it's 8 degrees up here now. We're about to get 1 to 2 feet of snow tonight.
I know. Wow. You are in our news because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, exciting.
Oh, my goodness. So how old is Jack?
So Jack is 10. He'll be 11 in May.
Oh, wow. Is Jack your youngest?
No, he's my second oldest. So we have 5 kiddos, and we have one who's about to be 12, and Jack is 10, and then we have Charlie is 9, and Rose is 7, and over the weekend my youngest son, Henry, turned 6.
Some of the children at New Horizon really don't speak much. Does Jack speak much?
Jack does speak. Jack is quite verbal.
Okay.
So we're lucky in that regard. He's in mainstream school at this time, although we've sort of gone back and forth with, as you mentioned in the intro, would a different school have better luck kind of tapping into that unusual mind and that unique way of thinking. But for now, he's mainstreamed and he's very happy there. So.
Yeah, and I think we've learned that too, that some of the kids who go from the public school to the New Horizon end up sometimes going back to the public school. So
it's such a tricky fit, and Jack is largely motivated on what his family and his siblings do, so he's a year behind my oldest son, and it's very important for him to follow in Joey's footsteps.
This is going to be a weird question probably, but I hope you hear it the way I mean it. It sounds like you're a very loving family. That's to me, that's ultra important. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that? And it sounds like a dumb question, but I've seen... Robin and I have a friend who's has Down syndrome, and he's 52. I've known him since he was 11.
He's 54.
And what I know about him, because now his mother has passed away, but I know that he was from a very, very loving family, and he lives by himself. He's independent, and I've always thought the reason he's doing so well is because of that love. And I know it sounds like the Beatles or something, very simplistic, but I think it's true. I think love has a lot to do with it.
Well, I mean, it can sound like a cliche, but I can tell you this, that our family is the bedrock for Jack. I mean, it is his foundation. And it's always like this tender balance of sort of enclosing him and protecting him in our little family circle, and then sort of nudging him out into the world. And I think having siblings provides that balance really well, because they kind of draw him out, on his own terms when he's comfortable.
And there's that sense of competition also, because within the family, the siblings want to compete with each other in a very fun way.
Mm-hmm. There's so many dynamics that I see every single day with him that are magical. There's a little bit of the competition. There's a little bit of, hey, there's 5 of them. We could not let our family life revolve around Jack. He cannot dictate what we eat, when they sleep. He sort of had to fall into their rhythm pretty quickly, and I think that's really benefited him.
Wow, interesting. I love the way that the promotional material is written, how autism changed one family for the better. So to tell us how this started, how old was Jack before he was diagnosed as autistic?
We had his official diagnosis at 18 months. So pretty young,
Pretty young, yeah. And what was the red flag? How did you know?
I always tell this story when he was about 6 months old, and my oldest son was only a year older, and they were sitting together in a restaurant, and they had kind of these matching pajamas on, and they were both sitting up in their high chairs, and all these people kept stopping by us to say how cute they were, and they looked like twins and all of that. And that 6-month marker was like the last time I remember not worrying about Jack. So from age 6 months on, something was really, really off with him. He never really looked at us or babbled or cooed, never pointed. He never played any of those kind of really young games like patty cake or any kind of movement with his hands or anything like that. There was always within me, though, if I had to really admit it, even before the 6 months, there was like this disquiet I had in my own gut about him. His sleeping patterns were really strange. He just never seemed comfortable in his own skin, if that makes sense.
The title of the book, tell us about the statement that led to the title of the book.
Yeah, so the book was written at that point, and I had yet to come up with it. Yeah, it had already been written. I couldn't come up with a title. One of the chapters in the book sort of talks about snowflakes and gives us an analogy of autism and snowflakes, so I was really playing with that and kind of gearing up for that kind of a title. And then it was one evening I was making dinner, and Jack just walked in. So when Jack talks to you, it's very abrupt. It's typically what he wants to talk about and nothing else, and he will literally shut you off and shut down and close the conversation and walk away. So this was one of those conversations, and he said, what color do you see for Monday? And I was really taken aback, and I said, I don't see the days of the week as color. What do you mean, Jack? And then that was it. That was all he would share at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which can be really frustrating. But through the course of a week or two, we sort of drew him out. And, Again, we're talking about somebody who has pretty limited expressive language. So you learn things in dribs and drabs from him. And we sort of teased it out of him that he does see the days of the week as color.
Isn't that interesting? I wonder what that means. Do you have any hint?
I don't. There's a phrase, and a lot of people have been writing to me about it, called synesthesia, where people on the spectrum, not on the spectrum, just, sort of all sorts of people, see days of the week, see numbers, see months, see all various kinds of things in color. So I don't know if that's, I don't think it's a marker of autism or not. I just think it's sort of one way you visualize it.
I wonder if Monday is always the same color.
It's not. It is not always the same color, which I learned after the book, because I do name the color in the book. After the book was released, and I don't know, he and I were chatting one day. He said sometimes it is, red.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And then, he's so funny. One day I was sitting at my computer, and I thought, what else do you see as color, Jack? And he said, I see all things in color. And I got so excited. I said, what is it? What do you see in color? He says, well, your sweater is pink and the computer is gray. And I was like, oh, Jack.
Oh, that's too funny. My goodness. Carrie, we need to take a little break, and we'll be right back, because the color of weather here in Florida is blue skies.
I don't want to hear it.
Blue skies.
Not fair.
We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. We'll have a lot of clouds and a shower or two this morning. Then clouds will break for sunshine this afternoon. It'll be a windy, cooler day with a high in the 60s. Clear, breezy, and chilly tonight, 38 to 42. Tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy, high 60 to 64. On Wednesday, mostly sunny and quite cool, high 58 to 62. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
The LPGA Tour will kick off the 2015 season right here in Central Florida at the inaugural Coates Golf Championship presented by R&L Carriers, January 26th to the 31st at Golden Ocala Golf and Equestrian Club. Kids 12 and under get in free with a ticketed adult, so bring the entire family to see 120 of the world's best female golfers compete on a nationally televised stage. For information and tickets, visit CoatesGolfChampionship.com.
Greetings, good citizens. Join Robin Hood and the Sheriff of Nottingham at the 29th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 24th and 25th and January 30th through February 1st at the Alachua County Fairgrounds. You'll find medieval merriment for the whole family. Cheer on royal knights as they joust for their lady's honor. Watch a living chess match or enjoy performances by gypsy dancers and magicians. Then wander through the marketplace where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares. Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair.
Don't get caught without your daily source of senior deals. Pick up your copy of the Senior Voice newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors, with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs. And all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. And pick up your copy of the Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Carrie Cariello is on the phone. I think she said she's in Vermont, right? In Vermont?
I'm in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. I was confused with two states. The cold states, right?
It's cold. It's pretty cold.
Yeah, and is the sky blue at all, or is it just...
It is. It's actually sunny right now. It's 8 degrees out and sunny when I took the kids out to the bus stop.
But the clouds are moving in, right?
Yeah, apparently it's going to start this evening sometime. So.
Was there ever a time when Jack's doctor or other medical professionals was trying to encourage you to have Jack live somewhere else other than in his home?
No, that's really never come up. I mean, he's still pretty young, and we've had such success with the therapies and things through the school and seen a lot of progress. So no, I can't say anybody's ever brought that up to us.
So when he was talking about the color, I wonder if the answer to the question, what color do you think Monday will be, would be similar to us finding out what do you think the weather would be. I mean, does the color actually indicate maybe what kind of plans you should make, that kind of thing?
or how he feels about the day. At first Monday was blue, and I thought, well, blue's, sort of this, some people see that as kind of a sad color. It's really hard to say. Again, it's somebody who has limited expressive language who would have a hard time describing what blue means to him.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get in there and figure it out. He, like I said, doesn't seem to translate that to any other aspect of his life that I know of at this point with the color.
So what is life like with you and your husband and Jack? And it sounds like you have a very wholesome family. So I mean, the other children included. So he's the second oldest at the age of, you said 10?
10, yeah.
10. Okay. So how old is the oldest?
He's 11. He'll be 12 this spring.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all about a year apart. I mean, our family life, I think, is pretty typical, except we do take kind of steps to make sure we don't overschedule everybody. We eat together every night as a family. We kind of follow a pretty predictable pattern of homework and outside play and all of that kind of stuff. My husband's a dentist in the area, so he has pretty predictable hours, and I'm home pretty much full time writing and stuff like that. I write a blog every week and contribute to different magazines and papers around the area. So yeah, things are good. I would say it's pretty wholesome. I think everybody's pretty happy. And
is there anything that the public at large does, like maybe at a grocery store, that just you wish we would be more educated about autism?
Gosh, I was just having this conversation with a friend that I have to say in all the years that I've had Jack, 10 plus, I have never been sort of offended or taken aback or annoyed in any kind of public interaction that I've had. So I think the world at this point is doing their best to keep up with kind of an unusual population of people that's emerging.
You have a wonderful story to illustrate that point. You point out that Jack likes to follow rules, and there was an encounter in one of your hotel stays.
Yeah, with the dog, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I know you mentioned in the intro how there was the one kiddo that loved animals, and I thought, that for the longest time was the opposite of Jack. He hated animals and dogs and was terrified. And yeah, we went into a hotel on a little mini vacation we took, and there was a dog in the lobby, and Jack got really outraged because he didn't expect to see a dog in a hotel. And he raced right up to the front desk and said, "There is a dog in this hotel." And they said, "Yeah, it's a dog-friendly hotel, Jack. It's a pet-friendly hotel." So he kind of had to adjust that day. But I think, and I always tell this other story, that Jack for a couple of years was fascinated with license plates. And so through the blog, people from all over the country, all over the world, we have several international ones, sent us license plates, mailed them to us, strangers, complete strangers. So we have this whole wall of license plates up in our playroom.
Wow.
And it's, to me, such a powerful reminder that the world is ready to bridge the gap to people that are not, typical, to unusual people.
Yeah,
so,
So how did it change your family for the better? The subtitle of the book, How Autism Changed One Family for the Better.
I think in all the sort of cliched ways that we, my husband and I and my kids included, are much more empathetic to people that see things a little differently, behave a little differently, react a little differently. I think for my husband and I, it transformed our parenting in a way it never would have if we didn't have a special guy. We have to listen on a level that's much different. It takes us to a different parenting dimension altogether. And all of the kids benefit from that. I think as a group, we are always balancing, like I said earlier, to respecting autism's limitations, but not letting Jack hold us back at all as a family.
Kind of a personal question. After Jack was diagnosed, you had three more children?
I have to count. Yes, three more. Don't ask me their birth dates. I can't remember them.
But this is personal, and so forgive me if I'm stepping over that line. But did you and your husband say, well, maybe we shouldn't have any more children because of Jack being autistic, or did you not even give it a second thought?
Well, it's an interesting question because, and I talk about this in the first chapter of the book, I found out the day Jack was diagnosed, the very day, the following day I found out I was pregnant with my daughter.
Oh, wow.
My daughter is fourth. So really things happened, if you think about, they're all about a year apart. We'd already had my third son, Charlie. I found out I was pregnant with my daughter.
Okay.
So sort of the ship had sailed, if you will, at that point. Yes, it occurred to us, it occurred to me that we already have one kiddo diagnosed. You know, this is something that could, like, show up again in another kiddo. But I'll tell you, back when Jack was diagnosed, which wasn't even that long ago, it was kind of the cusp of when all of this autism exploded. You know what I mean? Like, it was really the turning point where kids were being diagnosed, like, much more frequently. So we were so naive back then, thought that Jack was just going to outgrow this. Yes, he had this diagnosis, but we were going to get him in some speech, and we were going to get all the right, pieces in place.
Right.
And he was going to outgrow, and we were just going to be all fine.
One of the things we learned from the folks we know at the school here is that movies like Rain Man make the general public think that autism means savant. And while savant is often somebody who's also autistic, it doesn't go hand in hand necessarily. So just so you know that I understand that, I do have a question about savant. Is there anything about Jack that looks like he might be savant in one area?
No. We've held out hope. No, I can't say he's a savant in any particular area. He has an astounding memory. But if I may say, it's for details that are somewhat meanerless and not practical. Like, he can remember the last time he had a hot dog with ketchup on it was 2 years ago. When we were on the license plate, he could remember the last time we saw, a Florida license plate on the road and what kind of car it was on. It's not particularly useful information, but he does have the ability to retain it. For years, he remembered everyone's birthday, hundreds of birthdays. And so if he's passionate about a subject at the time, he can, like, accumulate all this information about it. But then once he moves on to something else, it's like it was never there at all. So
one of the goals we've been told is to be able to have the children live independently when they get older, and that takes on a form of responsibility. Does Jack have responsibility in the household now to try to groom him?
Yes, he has a lot of responsibility. It's funny you say that because Jack doesn't like school. Every other day he's going to drop out of school, and he hates homework is bad for him, and he shouldn't have to do any of this. And
that's a normal kid.
Yeah, isn't it though? And so I try to take his academic work to a more practical level. Math, we do a ton of cooking. Jack likes to cook quite a bit. He certainly has chores around the house. We recently got a puppy. And so he's responsible for probably about 30% of the puppy's care. Just the dishwasher and the bed and doing all of that kind of stuff. I am keenly aware of our need to provide Jack with a skill base that will help him live independently. Because I have a child that may not live independently, that's reality, but desperately wants to live independently. Talks about it all the time.
Oh, wow.
So I have such a responsibility to do what I can to get him there.
Well, he is certainly in a loving family. I can hear it in your voice. Everything you've told us indicates that. I have one question that's absolutely not even connected to anything else. It's about the word kiddo. You use the word kiddo. Is that you, or is that all New Hampshire moms? I don't know. I say kiddo. Yeah, I guess I say kiddo because I can't say boys because I have my daughter. Okay.
I don't know. I think that's me. I'm going to coin it. That'll be the next book.
Well, now I'll know. See, I'm kind of a geek. Yeah, I like to hear people's accents and what words they choose to use, and then try to guess where they're from.
Oh, how funny!
So if I hear kiddo, I'm going to guess it's New Hampshire from now on.
Well, hey, let me give you a quiz then. If you hear pop for soda, where do you think of for pop?
The Midwest, Ohio, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, that's a Buffalo. I lived in Buffalo for 10 years.
Oh,
and
Buffalo.
They call soda pop.
Well, Robin says a whole nother.
Yes.
As opposed to...
Whole nother.
Yeah, it's like a whole nother experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a Wisconsinism.
Like
that's a Wisconsinism.
Oh, it's cold out there, I bet.
Well, Carrie, you're a delight. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you.
The book, What Color is Monday? How do we get the book?
So it's on Amazon. It was just re-released on Wednesday. I also have a second one called Someone I'm With Has Autism, out in the middle of February.
And your website, your personal website?
My blog is whatcolorismonday.com.
Okay.
And I got 1.6 million hits this week.
Wow.
On a piece I just wrote, so a very popular piece called I Know What Causes Autism.
Wow. Good for you.
It's been exciting.
Well, Carrie, thank you for being on the air. Be careful in that storm that's coming your way.
Oh, I know. Think of us, will you?
All right. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
From the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.